Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today I'm going to be listening to One More Hand, but I want to address the elephant in the room from last video. I was aware that I did not listen to the full version. I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the reaction actually, but I just didn't do that one because I thought it was going to be like a repeated thing. Turns out there's a whole different theme in there, like within this full version that I was not aware of. And while there's plenty of people saying I should listen to the full version, I'm kind of wondering if I should or shouldn't. So I'm going to like double down on that, where it's like, I'm going to listen to this one today, but if you really want me to hear the full version of Adinas, let me know. And I will do that next time. I don't know, there's something about it that's feeling like I need to wait for one more round before I'm sure that people actually want me to listen to the full thing. I'm not against it, I'll just have to listen to at least the portion that I've already heard again, which I'm not against at all. It was a really nice song, but I just want to be sure that people actually want me to listen to the full thing. So if that is the case, let me know, but we're going to be listening to One More Hand today. So without further ado, let's go. Kind of feeling like mall casino vibes. Oh. Once I took in the visuals, it made sense. I was not wrong, I guess. At least with the casino thing. Wow, okay. Ooh. Throw in some smooth jazz in there. Nice muted trumpet sound. I'm liking this blend. This electro jazz blend here. It's kind of reminded me of like early 2000s. It was like Dead or Alive, or even like Sonic the Hedgehog around that time. Like Sonic 06 kind of had this vibe at certain spots. What a weird reference to use, but... Smooth as all hell. This character is definitely giving me yandere vibes. I don't necessarily like that. I am in danger. But it's so chill. I don't know what to feel, you know? Unless she's just really horny for card games. See, if this is the same character, this is a different vibe. Which it definitely looks like it's the same character. Like lo-fi filter over this. It's a crunchy drum kit. Very punchy. Ooh. Great rolls on that snare. Great accents. Why do none of these characters look the same but are definitely the same? What's going on here? Does she have like multiple skins? Is that what I'm seeing? She's had different hair this whole time. Ah, man. Also loving the inclusion of the organ in there. The jazz organ is so underutilized. I'm glad that they threw it in here. That could have been replaced with a synth, and I'm glad they didn't do it. Whew. See, now we're back to this one. Oh yeah. That's a good switch up right there. Throw in some solo measures. They had some like blues scale stuff in there too. Like those trumpet accents in there. Then again, blues and jazz are very similar, especially their roots, so. Whoop. Okay. Was wondering how that was going to end. So again, gotta restate how much I love that this is just straight up casino jazz. It's modern casino jazz. That's an actual genre for those who are not aware. It has become a thing because they used to use jazz almost exclusively in older casinos way back in the day, and over time it just kind of modernized but stayed that same vibe. That sound has become so correlated with that atmosphere that they just didn't want to move away from it, so they just modernized it over time, gave it some like electronic spin similar to how this was handled, except for that spot near the end where it got a lot more like dubstep adjacent. It had a lot more of that bass-centric EDM feel, which isn't too common. It has been done before in just the overall jazz scene in casinos, but it hasn't really gotten too much of a foothold. Certain themed ones will have stuff with that more involved, but this song on its own obviously isn't played in an actual casino, it's in a game, so they're kind of playing with what's known in the game and the soundtrack for it already, and obviously with FLuoRiTe and GhostFinal doing their thing, playing around with that energy and having some accents in there that are very unique for that overall genre while still keeping true to that real feel. And part of that real feel is how good the percussion is in this one. Of course, I'm going to talk about the percussion. Why wouldn't I? It's kind of my thing here, but at the same time, there are some very specific fills and ghost note stuff happening in here that just wouldn't have been done by many people, many producers, but that is so centric to jazz that if you were to omit that and just completely leave it on the wayside, it would not feel as jazzy. It would not feel as good, as organic, as vibey, because truly what feels organic is stuff that's done organically by real musicians, that being ghost notes in this case. Those are played all the time, especially in jazz. They're basically a staple in that genre. So if you forego all of those ghost notes, you're never going to be able to feel quite real, and that's just something I've always loved that producers consistently, from all the games I cover, really understand. They do that. They keep track of those things and don't forget to include them, because if you do, the song would just be objectively worse. I also mentioned the jazz organ. That's another thing that is very specific to the genre. That's why it's called a jazz organ. That's what I call it. That's what everybody I know who has ever played jazz calls it. I'm sure you could probably call it a clavinova, even though that's technically not the same thing. That gets into semantics. Either way, if you didn't have that sound, it immediately would have felt less real. It would have felt less like that atmosphere. There's so much of that happening in this song. Little inclusions that could have been removed or replaced by some other aspect, a different sound, a different instrument, but weren't. You know, like they didn't take synths and just go to town with this. They wanted to keep as much as they could of that real organic jazz sound, and I love that. I really do appreciate that as a musician, because it really does make the genre feel natural. There's also little accent things done on other instruments that make it feel really good. Like again, those like trumpet runs that were in there, those like bidadadoo, bidadadoo, like those stings, those little accentual climbs, so good. Those are another one of those sounds that you just need to have in there, otherwise it wouldn't feel as alive. The whole song would feel more dead without some of that character in the song itself. But it's not even really the trumpet here that makes it feel organic. That does do that, but at the same time, it's how it's played that makes it feel so good. And you might be going, okay, we get it. It feels organic, it feels real, say something else. Okay, fine. So something else about this song is how I mentioned that it feels almost like an early 2000s video game to me. And that's because that same vibe was used in all of those games around that time. There was something with jazz, casino jazz specifically, that the early 2000s just grabbed onto with all of its might, and they were like, let's use this for every single city atmosphere, every single room atmosphere in existence, whether or not it has anything to do with a casino. And again, that goes back to how the atmosphere feels. It's relaxing, it's comforting, you're in a place that you've never seen before, assuming it's the first time you've played whatever game this is, and they want you to feel at home. So this type of sound works great for that. They even played it in some Pokemon games back then, and I think they still kind of do, or at least a genre that's adjacent to this. It's all generally the same approach. We want you to feel comfortable, we want you to feel like you belong here. Let's play something that is literally designed to be that feeling. And if I bring up the Dead or Alive comparison again, that's just because the whole thing is basically centered around the idea of a casino. So like, are you going to fault me there? We all know what the Dead or Alive series is about, and they want you to feel relaxed, they want you to feel comfortable, again, following that exact same atmospheric rule. But I think I'm still left off with the question, what's going on with this character on screen? Because usually that's not something I talk about or focus on for these. But does she have like multiple skins? Is that what's happening here? Because it really just feels like it's the same character with like different like clothing choices, different accessories, slightly different accessories. Or is it like, this is a thought that's just popped into my mind, and I could totally see it being the case. Is there like one girl for each hand in a deck of cards? Like, is there one for spades, hearts, diamonds, you know what I mean? Like, are they just like sisters, and that's why they look so similar and are kind of like designed the same way? I guess I could see that, but I don't know. It just feels like their personalities in each shot are just different enough that I'm like, this can't be the same person. They don't feel like they're the same person, but it could also just be the character, and that's just how they present themselves. I don't know better, but I would honestly not be surprised if it were the case that there were a couple of them all designed around each hand in a deck. That would totally track. But whether or not I'm accurate on that, I won't know until people tell me, so please let me know in the comments below, as well as if I should be getting back to Adinas and doing the full version of that next time. And otherwise, if you have any other songs you want me to get to that you think I should get to next instead of Adinas, let me know in the comments as well. And as always, I'll do my best to get to them. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for those in the future, you know how to do all that. And I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!